Global travel chaos today caused by this fire at a power substation right near Heathrow Airport. One of the busiest airports in the world is now shut down for the day totally because of the fire. More than 1,300 flights in and out of Heathrow are affected, but officials say travel disruptions, well, those are going to be expected at airports around the world. Indeed, a Canadian impact as well. We just heard from Air Canada. 16 Air Canada flights have been canceled. 6 were in the air and returned to their original airports. They were heading to Heathrow, and 1 flight had to be diverted, rerouted to be refueled. We don't know to what airport that went, but obviously a Canadian impact, and Pearson is saying no flights will be coming in from Heathrow today, and if you are planning to fly from Canada from Pearson to Heathrow, check the status of your flight. This will have major repercussions. Now, Briar Stewart is at Heathrow, and she is live for us this morning. I'm so glad to have you there, Briar. We've been looking at these live shots. All of the planes, 1,300 of them that would be in the air, coming in, going out, on the ground. What is the very latest there at a very quiet Heathrow Airport?
That's right. It is quiet. And where I'm standing, I mean, you would normally get people standing around Heathrow Airport watching planes because they just come in and land and take off so frequently. But of course, all 4 terminals that normally operate here are now closed. And they're going to be closed, airport officials say, until about midnight tonight. And that's all because of a fire that began last night at a transformer station a couple kilometers from here. Now, people in the area reported hearing a loud bang, and then the transformer had caught fire, the substation. There is an investigation underway to figure out exactly what happened, and the Metropolitan Police, their counter-terrorism unit is leading the investigation, but they say that's because critical infrastructure is involved, not only the substation, but you now have this affecting the busiest airport in Europe. So that's why the counter-terrorism section is involved. A little earlier today, the Energy Secretary for the UK, Ed Miliband, had said at this point there was no foul play suspected, but he really does want there to be a thorough investigation. Here's some of his interview.
We don't know the cause of this fire. It's obviously an unprecedented event, but I think what you're right to say is we will want to understand both the causes of this event and what lessons, if any, it can teach us. As I say, the grid have never seen an event quite like this, so it is very unprecedented, but obviously this is a massive disruption for people at Heathrow, and obviously with any kind of event like this, we will want to learn the appropriate lessons.
And you heard him talking there about lessons learned, and I think that's a question that a lot of people have this morning, is just how could this happen? How could a fire not only take out power to the surrounding area, but basically, cancel all the flights in and out of Heathrow today? And what happened was not only did the main power supply get cut, but the fire affected the backup generator, and we understand that officials are now looking at a plan C, kind of another backup option. But obviously it is a very big deal, not only for the people living in this area and for the people that were supposed to fly in and out of Heathrow today, nearly 300,000 passengers, but this will have ripple effects all across the globe.
You know, and I was mentioning and introducing you, Briar, the Canadian impact. So far, we've heard from Air Canada. 16 flights have been affected so far. Some were midair and had to go back to the airport from which they took off, and then 1 had to be rerouted and refueled. But that's just a small Canadian impact. This must have huge impacts throughout Europe. What has been the broader global repercussion?
Yeah, that's right. And I should point out, too, that Air Canada is not the only carrier to go from Canada to Heathrow. WestJet had flights that were scheduled to go today from Calgary. British Airways has flights. So a lot of Canadians are impacted. And then you had some passengers that were in the air and had to be diverted somewhere else or returned back to where they took off from. And some of them made an unexpected stop in Newfoundland because the plane had to land there and refuel. We understand that as many as 4 planes could have stopped in Goose Valley. So that's the situation in Canada, but Heathrow really is a global hub for air travel. Anybody that's taken a long-haul flight knows that you often connect to go on to other destinations through Heathrow. And so that's why, even though the airport is expected to reopen tonight, they really do believe that it will take several days for passengers to be rebooked. And obviously there is a lot of frustration.
I called my airline. I'm flying Air Canada, but I was on hold for over an hour. I gave up. I've been looking at flights out of other airports in London, but there are not as many options because I think people are scooping them up.
Yeah, it's tough. It's obviously a Friday, so, I'll still get home tomorrow, hopefully. It'll just take me an extra day to get back to my wife and my daughter, and they're probably, wishing I would get home already.
So a lot of maroon passengers. I understand that the hotels around Heathrow are all full, and so are the train stations in London, as well as people look for alternate routes to get to where they want to go.
Briar, thank you very much. We'll check back with you again next hour, and you'll be leading our coverage from there in Heathrow. Briar Stewart, live in London. And this is CBC Morning Live.